Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Belichick's Bitches podcast, the number one podcast in the world using some sort of metric, using the best source, the only source. Do trust me. I'm your host, Brennan, and along with me, as always, is my co host, Tyler.
Yes, an hour later, almost breaking computers. We back.
Oh, I think we both wanted to break our computers.
So this week was actually after the last couple weeks of free agency frenzy. It's been kind of nonchalant. Been some kind of like extensions that really don't matter. The only like big contract was the Tyler Lockett one today.
Yeah,
Like
that just happened.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Not much in terms of news, really, which is probably a good thing. I mean, the NFL's adding that 17th game. I don't like that at all.
I don't think either of us do.
No, people are happy because it's extra football. In essence, yeah, that sounds good, but I'm worried about
Players
the injuries
absolutely
spiking.
hate that.
Yeah, because it really doesn't get them any extra money. It just stretches their money out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not like they get an extra game check. It's just their game check gets smaller and they have to play an extra game. I still like I know we talked about. I'm still an advocate of 17 game schedule, or no, 18 game schedule. But each player can only play 16, and you have 2 buys.
I'm absolutely
I still
okay
think
with
that's
that.
the way. You get 4 weeks off every season, or every player gets 4 weeks off, and it creates a more of a strategy in terms of when to play backups, when to not. I think that's a better version. Apparently, the NFL is trying to push. I don't know what they bribed the NFLPA with to get that through, but it must have been something nice. Must have been a cat push or something. I don't know. So that's it for the news. The news was pretty uneventful. See you next week. No, we're gonna do our mock draft 2.0s because of the 49ers trade that happened.
Yeah.
They moved up to 3. The Dolphins moved back to 12, but then they moved back up to 6. But the Eagle, yeah, we'll discuss it in further detail. But so mock draft 2.0, we'll probably have like 3 more. But mock draft 2.0. Let's start it off.
All right, you want to go first or me go first?
Oh yeah, I have a shocker at pick 1. Bombshell. I mean, like nobody's ever mocked Trevor Lawrence to the Jags before. I'm gonna be the first.
Wait, you didn't have Kellen Mond going number 1 overall to Jacksonville?
Sorry. I picked 2. Trevor Lawrence, pick 1. It's gonna happen. Stop denying it. I don't care that Urban Meyer was at Ohio State's pro day. I don't care. Nobody does. He's going to Jacksonville, barring something.
Yeah.
It's happening. So yeah, no surprises there.
Yep, same. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. Not much to it.
All right, so we got the first pick out of the way. Now let's actually get to the mock draft.
Kind of.
Because pick 2. So the Jets. In my mock draft 1, I had them picking Zach Wilson. It's the same. I have them picking Zach Wilson. I don't think his pro day increased his stock like some people are. His stock was already really high. And the pro day just had that one really good moment where he threw off his back foot for 50 yards, which every quarterback in the goddamn country is doing now, trying to keep up with him. He started a trend. You got to give it to him. Again, I still think he makes the most sense for the Jets. Sam Darnold, it's a new coach, new management. Get yourself a new quarterback. Darnold hasn't really shown it in his 3 seasons. His trade value is okay. It's like a 3rd round pick, I think. NFL GMs are saying it's like a 3rd. So get your 3rd round pick, get him out, and get a new quarterback who's probably already better into that system. In my opinion, it's a no-brainer pick, but it's the Jets.
Yeah, I originally had them taking Penei Sewell, but yeah, I'm going Zach Wilson as well. It's a shame that he had those that hammy acting up. Otherwise, he would have done all the speed and agility drills, which would have been really cool to see how he tested. But nonetheless, yeah, he's going to New York.
Yeah, and the 49ers.
As much as I hate
traded
it.
up. Yeah, I know. The 49ers, when they traded up, it was kind of obvious. It was for a quarterback. They gave up their first this year, and I believe a first next year,
Yes.
as well as a third this year. That's quarterback type compensation. In my opinion, now this is where it gets a little sketchy. Your first reaction as well. There's two QB1s still left on the board. That would be QB1s in other classes. Fields and Lance. Well, it looks like they're interested in Mac Jones. Yeah. I don't get it. I know I'm higher on Mac than you are.
Yes. you are.
I still don't understand a trading up for him. I feel like if you're going to trade up, maybe you trade up to like 7 or 8. You know, one of those teams. It makes sense. Okay. Get him there. Get him before, all the quarterbacks. Pick 3. You're giving up 2 first and a third for arguably quarterback 6, 7. I'm not having it. I have them picking Mac Jones because Shanahan kind of hinted at it. And of course, he could be playing chess and could be interested in Fields, but he wasn't at Ohio State's pro day.
Nope.
I don't think, and he wasn't.
He went to
Dakota
Bama's
State's.
pro day over Ohio State's,
and he wasn't at North Dakota State's either. I don't believe so. Unless he's really confident in one of those picks, he doesn't even need to see anything, and he's just trying to throw another team off, trying to get them to mess up. I don't know what it is. Personally, it don't make sense. They should pick one of those two, but I have them picking Mac Jones 3. And trust me, if this pick gets made and there's people at that draft, they're not going to be happy. Them people are not going to be happy. I'm sorry. I don't see it. But pick 3, Mac Jones.
Yeah, I have the same pick practically. Mac Jones as well. I'm going to, if it happens, I'm praying that it happens. I'm going to laugh so hard. I'm going to be so happy. As long as Mac Jones... Yeah, as long as Mac Jones goes before quarterback 5, then I'll be extremely happy.
Yeah. So, I'll let you actually off because I let off the first 3. Who do you have Atlanta picking?
Atlanta, I think this is a prime trade down spot for Atlanta.
Yeah.
But since we're not doing trades, I was stuck between 2 people, a defender and a receiving threat. And because I think this would be a great spot for Jalen Phillips to go if he didn't have the concussions. But since he has the concussion worries, I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts, the tight end from Florida. He's already met with the Falcons twice via virtual meeting, and he has another one upcoming here soon. So the Falcons obviously have major interest in Kyle Pitts.
That's actually what I have too. I read that story today. That would be a Falcons pick to pick a tight end at pick 4. And if it was any other tight end, I would laugh at them. But it makes sense. Pitts is going to be amazing.
Yes.
At NFL level. There's very few naysayers, and even the naysayers are smoking your choice of herbal substances. Not happening. I think Pitts, great player. I don't think he falls out of the top 5. I know I mocked him in pick 11. His stock has gone up tremendously today with his wingspan coming in. He has like the longest reach ever.
Yeah, the longest wingspan in NFL history. Yep.
He ran a 4.38 or 4.4 something. One of those two.
I think it was a 4.44, but it wasn't. He didn't run in a straight line, so it was faster than a 4.44.
So 4.44, probably 4.37, something around that range. Plus, no one's going to believe the 40s this year because they're all pro days. It makes sense for Atlanta. Yeah, get a guaranteed stud, put him in the offense, and hey, your defense is going to allow 40 points. You might as well try to score 45. That's pretty much Atlanta's going to have to be. And I think Arthur Smith can do it. I like Arthur Smith, so I think it's a possibility. Pick 5. This has a lot of people debating right now. With the first 3 quarterbacks being guaranteed to be quarterbacks, and pick 4 most likely will be a quarterback in a trade down. or Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals have their choice pretty much of the best tackle or the best receiver.
Agreed.
I think they should go tackle. I think the Bengals, if they draft Chase, they're overthinking the chemistry and the need for. Listen, you have T. Higgins, who's a great rookie receiver. You got Tyler Boyd, a premier slot receiver. You can find a receiver option in the second or third round. You can find Terrence Marshall, who may slip to the second round. That Burrow has that connect, right? So I don't understand the need to panic draft Ja'Marr Chase. I think Ja'Marr Chase is a great prospect, but don't overthink it. You need a franchise tackle. Pick the franchise tackle and move on. It's not hard.
Yep, I'm going with Penei Sewell as well. It's just a no-brainer pick. The only other one is like you said, Ja'Marr Chase, but they have good enough weapons, and this draft is pretty deep at wide receiver. They don't need to go here in round 1. They could easily find a good wide receiver to pick up in the second or third round. You have an opportunity for a franchise left tackle who's 19 years old. He'll be 20 by the season starts. Pick Penei Sewell.
Yeah. Please don't overthink. A lot of these, and that's the issue, is a lot of teams overthink. And you have so much time that, yeah, you're going to think a lot. You're going to overthink. But it's crucial when you have one to just go with what makes the most sense, honestly. When you get out there, bad things happen. When you start going off into the stratosphere. So, just make it simple. Pick 6. Dolphins, they trade up, down, left to right, up and center, and they still get their guy, Ja'Marr Chase, at pick 6. It makes sense. They need a number 1. People think Devonta Smith could go here because of the Bama. Again, I think that's overthinking. Ja'Marr Chase is the better prospect, and I think he's the better receiver. It's a no-brainer. Pick 6, and Dolphins get a true number 1, which scares the hell out of me.
Can we stop having the same exact picks, please?
We have to be separate on pick 7. It's good. It's gonna happen. Okay.
All right.
It's gonna happen.
Pick 7. I almost went with Patrick Surtain here. You'd have 2 back-to-back first-round corners and Jeff Okudah and Patrick Surtain. I think that'd be really good for the Lions secondary. But I ended up going with a weapon for Jared Goff and Devonta Smith.
Interesting. That is interesting. I did not go there. I went in a completely different direction. I went with I think this is a trade down. Personally, I don't think the Lions make this pick because I don't think their needs line up with this part of the draft. I think they need a lot. They need defense. They need interior D-line. They need offensive line. They need corner. They need everything, okay?
Yeah.
But I think Dan Campbell, if he has to make this pick, I don't think Goff is his quarterback. I really don't. I'm not high on Goff, personally. I think he has a great deep ball. But he doesn't – I don't think him and Campbell, their personalities really mesh. You know, he had that crazy press conference. I think he needs a quarterback that's equally crazy. I'm going Justin Fields to the Lions. Makes sense. He could
wait. You're saying Justin Fields has a crazy personality?
Well, he not crazy, but he has that when he broke his ribs in the game and got up and threw 6 touchdowns.
Oh, so toughness, you mean?
Toughness. I'm sorry. Craziness. Same thing.
I'm like, he's a pretty mellow dude. He doesn't.
Yeah. Toughness. My bad. Toughness. It makes sense. He can sit the bench for the first until the bye week, build up Goff's whatever his trade value would be, or Goff could even just ride the bench. The Lions have a lot of cap. I think it makes sense. You get your quarterback, and you can focus on filling out the roster through the rest of the draft and next year, because you're not competing next year anyway. So get your quarterback if he falls to you.
That's fair.
Panthers. It's the Panthers. Who do you got the Panthers taking?
I have the Panthers taking Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State. I feel like he's perfect for what the Panthers can do. They got a great bridge quarterback there already, and Teddy Bridgewater. Uh, it'd be basically be the perfect situation for Trey Lance. As much as I'd love him in Denver, we probably won't be able to give him that time that he needs to sit for probably about half a season before he's fully ready to go. Uh, so I think the best bet for him would be in Carolina.
I agree. That was where I had Trey Lance going. Carolina Panthers pick up their quarterback. They could obviously go wide receiver, try to replace Curtis Samuel here. They could easily go Smith because in my mock draft he's still there. They could go with him. They could go a guy like Waddle. They could go a lot of different places with this pick. But quarterback, again, you got to fill out quarterback when it's available to you. And it just makes the most sense. Trey Lance fits the scheme. It's a good fit. Pick Denver. I'll let you go second because this is your team.
All right.
Although I already kind of have a feeling I know he mocked them. I have them going Surtain, top corner on the board. True. I don't know if he's going to be a true number one. I'm not overly high on Surtain, I'll be honest.
Neither am I.
But top corner on the board, he falls to you. He'd normally go probably top 5 in a normal draft. Pick your guy. You also have needs pretty good. I know, isn't Von Miller coming back?
Yes.
Coming back. So you don't really have an edge need, which was my first need that popped up. None of the quarterbacks are left unless you want to pick Trask at pick 9. You can do that if you want.
I'll pass.
So it makes sense to me. Patrick Surtain. I'll go talk about Justin Fields.
Yeah, but I'm going to take Justin Fields here. If any of the top 4 quarterbacks are somehow available here at 9, you sprint to the podium. I don't care which quarterback it is. I don't care if it's somehow Zach Wilson. It's not going to be Trevor Lawrence, but if he's there, I don't know how that happened. If it's Trey Lance, if it's Justin Fields, you sprint to that podium and you turn that card in. 100%. Every single day. You turn in that card. That's it.
Quarterback. Yeah, Broncos need a quarterback, and yeah. We could talk. You could talk about Drew Lock for an hour, so we'll move on.
Yes. Not good.
Pick 10. Now, in my opinion, this is where the draft opens up. From this pick on, I guarantee you will only have like 3 or 4 picks the same. Sean Slater. I had them picking Slater in the last mock. It still makes sense. Get a guy who can immediately start at right tackle. I think Tyron Smith's coming back. Start him at right tackle, and he has that versatility. You can just move him to left when Smith is on his way out, which probably won't be very long, sadly. It just makes a lot of sense. The Cowboys need offensive line, and especially to protect Dak. And Lyle Collins was not very good last year when he was on the field. So, get Rashawn Slater. Instant starter.
That's fair. I went with Patrick Surtain since he was still available for me. Cowboys have no secondary practically, especially with letting Chidobe Awuzie hit the open market because they're spending over half of their cap space on 3 players, one of which being a running back. So congratulations on that, Dallas. You get to replace a corner that you lost with a quarterback here in the draft.
Yeah. And I know the one thing I don't like about the Cowboys picking a tackle is that Cowboys like to go for those flashy picks. A tackle is not very flashy at all. But you have to pick them. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Pick 11, the Giants. If the Giants go anywhere but receiver, I'll be shocked. They need a receiver out. I know they signed John Ross for agency. I don't care. I have them picking. I think he falls past the Giants. I think the Giants pick up Waddle, blazing fast speed. I don't know if if he's going to be the guy at number 1, but he's definitely going to complement off Darius Slayton very well. So I'm all for it, and I think Jalen Waddle's a perfect. I think I had him going in the last draft. I didn't have the last draft wrote down, so known for being injury prone throughout his career.
Yeah.
So I like Smith. I think he's a great guy. I think he's going to help any locker room, but I'm still concerned about his body. So
That's fair.
I've been picking Devontae Smith at 12.
Um, I'm going with Jalen Waddle here at 12. The only one of the top 3 receivers that's left on my board, and Philadelphia desperately needs wide receiver help.
Last draft, something like that. I have them picking Asante Samuel Jr. Man's a freak. It's as simple as that. I like his tape probably the most at any of the corners, but I know that for some reason, a lot of the scouts and GMs aren't just as high as him. I haven't really seen him talked about as much in the drafts or anything, mock drafts. I like Asante Samuel Jr. He destroyed Georgia Tech last year. When I mean destroyed, I mean it was brutal. Vikings get a corner. They have a lot of corners, especially they just signed Pat Pete. But I still think Asante Samuel is better than any enter and Pat Pete. Get him to be that true number one. I think it makes sense.
I just look at the Vikings, and that interior of their offensive line is still terrible.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going with the same pick I
Awful.
picked them last time. The interior offensive lineman, USC Elijah Vera Tucker.
Oh yeah.
It's just simple plug and play, instant starter. You can pretty much play him anywhere on the interior of that line, and he'll be your day one starter and make an impact.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Patriots. I'll let you go first because I went first on the Broncos.
All right. With the Patriots, it was kind of a weird one, honestly.
I agree.
There are so many different places I could go with this pick. I'd probably want to trade down if I had the option here. But since we're not doing trades, I decided to go with a guy I think is a Belichick guy. And that's Azeez Ojulari, the edge rusher from Georgia. Because this dude is he's exactly what Belichick usually looks for in edge rushers. He's a hybrid. Dude can easily drop in the zone and not be a complete and total liability for you. Can you rush the passer with great ease? He's a better prospect than what's his name? Kayvon Chason was coming out last year, and Kayvon Chason went in the early 20s, late teens, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was pick 18.
Yeah. So he's a better pass rusher, and he's a much better in coverage. I think he'd be a great fit in New England.
I was going edge. I was going to draft I still haven't picked an edge in my mock. And there's a reason for that. But I was going to go edge, and then I remembered we signed Matthew Judon in free agency, and we signed Kyle Van Noy. Both, like you said, are the hybrid guys. They're going to eat up a lot of the time, and even if those guys aren't eating up the time, we have Chase Winovich and Josh Uche, a third-round pick from last year. Edge is just loaded. Of course, I wouldn't be mad about Ojulari. The more, the merrier. But, not feeling it. I'm going with linebacker, though. The linebacker class isn't very strong. Micah Parsons is there.
Mm-hmm.
Character concerns. I have him going later. I actually kind of like this guy, and I watched his tape a little bit, and I kind of have him higher than he was last year. I think I had him going to the Browns last draft. I have to go with New England. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Kind of he doesn't really have a position. He plays slot. He plays safety. He plays a little bit of outside corner. He played linebacker. He does everything but rush the passer, really. I think he fits in New England's scheme. We don't really have a true cover backer. I mean, Dante Hightower's, he hasn't played in a year. You know? Van Noy, as good as he is in coverage, he's better rushing the passer than a stand-up guy. And that's just how it is. So I think this allows Van Noy to stay on the field more as a pure pass rusher. And while that may hurt Uche and Winovich, it insanely helps New England's defense by getting a better pass coverage guy out there. If you watch any Patriots game, trust me, we get killed over the middle every game. It's become a tradition the past couple of years with the Hightower slowing down. It's just we have no cover backer. I think it makes sense, and I think it screams a New England pick. But yeah, a trade down is probably the most likely scenario if nobody insane falls this far.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
Pick
16.
The Cardinals. I had them picking Barmore last year. Or last mock. I went Elijah Vera Tucker. The offensive line isn't the strongest. It's pretty weak. I think it makes sense. You could have Tucker going higher. I haven't really watched his tape, so I can't really say much on how he plays. But hey, get yourself a guard, Cardinals. He starts instantly and help out Kyler Murray.
All right. I went with J.C. Horn, the corner from South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
I think this be a great move for Carolina to make. Their young secondary gets even younger and even more talented. Especially with how much Vance Joseph likes to run a base kind of man press sort of defense. I think J.C. Horn is just a great fit.
Oh yeah. The Raiders. The Raiders had an interesting offseason for agency. They let every offensive lineman in the building leave except Colton Miller. I think Incognito's coming back, and he's like, what, 38, 39? I have them drafting Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. Miller, I think, plays... Does he play left?
Colton Miller's a left tackle, yes.
He does play left. So Darrisaw would move right. Not a big deal. The Raiders need help on the offensive line because they let Gabe Jackson, Osamele, and Rodney Hudson leave. And Trent Brown. Right. All four of those guys are gone. So you need some coverage in that area. Pick the best offensive lineman available. If it's a guard, if it's a center, I don't care. Get Derek Carr some protection because he's going to be your quarterback next year. Poor Derek Carr. Miami. Who do you got going to Miami?
For Miami, I didn't get to do my Raiders pick, though.
Oh. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm going with the exact same pick I made last time. Micah Parsons, the linebacker for Penn State. You already heard the reasoning last time. I don't need to repeat myself.
Yep.
But for Miami, I decided to get him an edge rusher, and I decided to go with Kwity Paye out of Michigan. Just another one of these really athletic linebackers. His three cone is insane. He has great agility and bend. I think he'll do big things for that Miami defense, especially under Flores.
Yeah. Here's my thing about the Dolphins. I don't really know who to mock to them because their team is pretty well rounded, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Offensive line's a little weak, but I feel like they could. That it's strong enough they could address it day two. I feel like the running back room's nice. I feel like I like the receivers, tight ends, especially if they get Jamar Chase. I'm going with Micah Parsons, and this Micah Parsons is almost going to kind of remind me of Laramie Tunsil. They're going to take a risk on a guy who's probably going to fall because of character concerns. Who, in my opinion, would probably be a top 7-8 pick without him. But because he has those worries, he's going to drop. And you know what? It's a pretty good locker room in there in Miami with Flores now there. And they have a pretty good thing going besides cutting Van Noy for no reason. I'm all for it. I think it makes sense. Get a guy in. He's going to replace the guy that walked to New England. Good linebacker. I don't know why I'm blanking. He kind of starts instantly. He has some good upside with his speed. So I think it's I'm not high on him, but it could work out in Miami. Washington.
The football team.
No, that was the Bears. Never mind. I'm going with Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Okay. Personally, I was going to mock them a receiver, and then they signed Curtis Samuel. They do need offensive line. I was considering that. But corner, I feel like the corner at this point is just too good to pass up. Farley would probably go higher in most mocks. I think it makes sense for him. Get an extra corner and beef up that defense even more because that defense is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I decided to go with Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. I think it's just a great fit here. Easy plug and play. Solidify the offensive line. They could easily have the best trenches in the entire league here in a year or so if they really start investing into that offensive line and getting whoever will play quarterback for them some good protection because they already got some good weapons in the making.
I like that pick. Chicago Bears. First edge off the board. Finally. I have been picking Jalen Phillips. Actually, after you sent me that thing, I was intrigued. So I watched some tape. Freak. And a monster. Again, like you said, he has concussion issues, so that's an issue. But I really like this edge rushing class with him, Pay, Ojulari, and Rousseau.
Yeah.
I love the edge class. There's not like a top guy that you normally see like with a Myles Garrett or a Bradley Chubb or a one of those guys that like is the top and then it's kind of the rest. You have a pretty balanced top 5 edge, and that's going to create for some interesting trade ups and downs. I think you're going to see more trades this year than in an average draft.
Yeah, because
of that, which is just going to be great for our mocks because they're just going to look perfect by the end of the draft.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Who do you have the Bears taking?
I have the Bears taking another offensive tackle. I'm going with Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. Bears, you can't get a quarterback here. You could get a wide receiver here, but without a quarterback, I don't see a really big reason to pick a wide receiver here, especially how there's still some good wide receivers left in free agency, and this is still a deep wide receiver draft. Build up that offensive line. You're gonna need it, especially when you don't have a quarterback. I think the only rostered quarterback right now is Nick Foles, so might as well get the running game going with some good offensive line play.
Yeah. Colts. I'll be honest, man. The Colts don't need a lot.
No, they don't.
This is almost either a trade back or it's just a pure luxury pick, which normally luxury picks aren't upper 20s. I love it. I'm going to have them going Tevin Jenkins.
Okay.
Offensive tackle. I think it's a great fit. He played, I think he's left tackle. Put him at left tackle, see what happens. You have Braden Smith, who's a reliable right tackle if he needs to switch over to left. If that's not possible. I mean, you never know. That's really their only huge question mark is left tackle. Everything else on the roster is great. So it comes down to, can they get that offensive line in a position that lets Carson Wentz succeed?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
I really wanted to go offensive tackle here just because Anthony Costanzo retired and they don't really have anyone to slide over there. But my first round caliber, in my opinion, offensive tackles were gone. My next one would probably be Samuel Cosmi, but I didn't really want to reach all that far. So I decided to take a more of a best player available approach. And you know what? Why not? Colts upgrade that defense even more. They draft Caleb Farley, the corner from Virginia Tech. Just continue to bolster that defense and add to a already young secondary. They just keep getting younger and better.
I like that pick. Titans. They have one need in mind. They have a lot of needs, but there's one need that's up there, and then the rest are kind of They need edge so bad. They have no pass rush at all. Clowney's not coming back, which doesn't matter because he's a run stuffer. Harold Landry's good, but he's not a number one edge. They need a number one, and I think Kwity Paye makes perfect sense. I think I had him drop a little bit from the last draft or mock, last mock. He's amazing. Got that freakish 3-cone. He's explosive off the line. His only true knock has been consistency. But you get past that, you get the consistency issues down. You have, in my opinion, a number one edge at pick 22, 23, which is stupid. That's how deep this edge class is. So I have him going Kwity Paye.
Fair enough. They already have Harold Landry and they signed Bud Dupree. I wouldn't necessarily take edge in the first, especially when my edge rushers left aren't really my go-to guys that I take here. So I'm gonna have them replace Adoree Jackson, that they for some reason let go. They're gonna take Eric Stokes, the corner from Georgia, an athletic freak, just an absolute freak at the cornerback position. If they can develop him properly, he'll be a great number one corner for them.
I like that pick. I don't know why they cut Adoree. He was their best corner. It made no sense.
Yep.
And the deal he signed with the Giants wasn't that expensive. I don't know. I didn't get it.
I really wanted him in Denver if we could possibly get him, but the Giants got him.
I'll be honest.
But we got Kyle Fuller and Ronald Darby, so I can't be too mad.
I completely forgot about Bud Dupree, and my opinion on the edge need doesn't change at all. Because I don't think Bud Dupree is going to do that much. But that's just me. I still don't. I think it was an overpay. And I think y'all have heard my opinion on that. I still think Kwity Paye makes sense. Even though I technically did forget they drafted him. Or they signed Bud Dupree. Whatever. The Jets.
The second Jets pick.
Ojulari. It's easy. Ojulari. The Jets need aggressive players, and they need a edge rusher that's just going to dominate. And they need, as usual, Ojulari. Like you said, he can play zone. I've seen him do that. Solid in that. But they need a number one edge. And Saleh with Ojulari, it just sounds nice. So I'm going Ojulari. They could go anywhere with this pick. They could even go as far as going running back, receiver, offensive line, D-line, line. They could go anywhere. So, but I haven't going Ojulari.
I think this is the same pick that I had them picking last time in the draft. But I'm going with my wide receiver 4 in this year's class, and he's very much slept on in my opinion. I'm going with Terrence Marshall, the wide receiver at LSU. Played second fiddle both Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but still produced like a number one and still plays like a number one. 6'3", 200 pounds. He's willing to do everything. He isn't scheme restricted. He's an all-around great wide receiver. I think he's being really slept on in this draft class. He's one of my favorites, and he's going here to the Jets to help out Zach Wilson.
Mm-hmm. I actually do. I did not have him going in the last mock. I do have him as a first at this mock. Stay tuned. But I have the Steelers. Honestly, the Steelers, man. I don't know. It's hard to mock Steelers players to the Steelers because they always seem to go in a different direction than what their needs are. I mean, linebacker was a need when they drafted Bush, but it wasn't like their number one and they drafted Devin Bush. I think they traded out for that pick.
Yes, they did.
Same with the TJ Watt. When they picked TJ Watt, they really didn't need edge, but they picked TJ Watt late in the first. And I have them going Stokes, corner out of Georgia. He wowed at his pro day. He ran like a 4.28. Probably gonna end up being the fastest player in the draft, if not one of the fastest. Once Schwartz does his 40, and he's speed at the corner position is becoming one of the most valuable things in the NFL.
Yes.
There's a huge correlation between speed and effectiveness. Because if even if your technique's not perfect, if you're fast, you're going to catch up. It's that simple. You may get out-muscled every now and again, but if you're fast enough, even if you're off by half a tenth, you can make that up by tracking them down. So that's where that comes from. Stokes, maybe, I don't know if he'll be their number one yet, but he'll be a great option, and it gives that defense with Terrell Edmunds, Devin Bush, TJ Watt a lot more versatility.
Absolutely. I already had Stokes gone, but I still had them going corner. I'm going with Greg Newsome, the second, the cornerback out of Northwestern. Northwestern has surprisingly some really solid players in this draft, and Greg Newsome is no different. He's an absolutely solid corner. I think he's even underrated here as a late first-round pick. I think you could easily see him go in the teens. If possible, if this was a bigger need between most teams here at corner, Um, and especially with this not being a strong corner class, you could probably see him going into the teens, to be honest, if there goes a run on corners early.
Like it. Jags. Who do you got the Jags taking?
This is a bit of a shocker. I'm taking him earlier than I took him last draft. I'm going to go with Christian Barmore, the defensive lineman at Alabama. Jags could really use a great pocket pusher on the interior of this defense, and I think Barmore brings that, and he just elevates this defense even more. They could probably go wide receiver here, but I think Barmore brings more value, especially with how insanely weak this interior defensive lineman class is and how strong the wide receiver class is. I think it's just a great move for them. They could have gone with safety here, but
oh yeah,
I'll go with Barmore.
I actually don't have a safety going in the first round of this class, which is kind of weird.
This was like the only place I would have a safety going, but I decided against it.
Unless you want to count Owosu as a safety, but he's more of a linebacker. Jags. I have them going receiver. I know they have a pretty good receiving core already. Shark and who there's rumors he could be traded, but it hasn't. There was some Orlando Brown rumors swirling, but they died down. I have them going Rashad Bateman. I like Bateman purely for scheme fit. I don't think he's the best receiver on the board right now. I think that's Terrence Marshall. But Bateman, in terms of the scheme fit, makes a lot of sense. I think he's a great route runner. Get open on his routes. And that's really what Jacksonville doesn't have. They have a couple good players in Chenault and Sharp, but they need someone that's going to get open on third downs. Or Trevor Lawrence. I feel like that's going to be Bateman. I think it just makes the most sense. Marshall might be the better receiver overall, but I feel like Urban Meyer's going to go for those positional players that are there to fill a specific need.
Yeah,
I think that's where Bateman comes in.
Yeah,
college coaches do that, man. College coaches, when they come up, some people keep that that mind that it's specific roles versus overall players, and that works for some guys, Belichick, and it don't work for some, like 100 other college coaches that try to come up to the NFL.
It's very true. All right,
Browns. Again, this is another pick. I would almost call this a luxury pick. Again, they do need a lot on the defense, but they're going to be getting a lot of injured guys back that they didn't have last year. I'm going with an edge rusher. I'm going Gregory Rousseau. I was going to go Owe, but I kind of want him to go to a different team later.
So you went away from the Owe pick?
Yes, that's exactly what I'll even take your dad joke on that one. Rousseau is big, man. Him and Garrett are going to be imposing for offenses. They're going to be really scary. You have to double Garrett. So if Garrett's getting those double teams, Rousseau is going to have 9 to 12 sacks his rookie year. He's going to be going one-on-one. And you have to guard one of them. So I'm going with Rousseau.
All right. I'm going with the same exact pick. I have him going Gregory Rousseau as well. This dude is an absolute athletic freak. The length that he has a great get off. He's extremely undeveloped. I think he could learn a lot playing opposite Myles Garrett and learning and developing under him. He'll probably take 2 years probably to really get used to the game and really start making a big impact. But if you can unlock that potential with him and Garrett, that's going to be an extremely dangerous pass rush duo. I'd like to see him add some more strength, get a little more weight up. He's only 260. I'd like to see him probably around 275, 280-ish, because his functional strength is something that may be a concern very early on in his career. So I'd like to see him add some more strength to his build. He definitely has the room for it at 6'5".
Yeah. What he could do is also they could keep him as a pure pass rush specialist. They may just keep him off the field first down. That would help his development a little bit. Let him focus on just the pass rush, and then you can fix the rest of it. I do like the Rousseau pick, though. Baltimore gets their number one, and it's not Sammy Watkins. I have them picking Terrence Marshall. I think if he does go to Baltimore, he'd be the number one day one. Not even a doubt in my mind. He'd show up, he'd be the number one. Him, Watkins, and Brown. I'm not high on that receiving room. I'm not high on Watkins playing more than 10 games, and I'm not high on Marquise Brown. But I think it's something that Lamar could work with. Get him a number one, and Lamar may get another MVP. Who knows?
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I really considered Rashad Bateman here because he's still on my board, but I just thought that the fit is just too much to pass up on. I'm going with Jason Owe, the edge rusher from Penn State here for the Baltimore Ravens. This could be wide receiver, edge rusher, and it could easily be the second spot that a safety like Trevon Moehrig could go. But I'm going with Jason Owe. He had a fantastic pro day, and he's a great scheme fit there for Baltimore's 3-4 defense.
Oh yeah,
Especially after losing Judon to the Patriots. They need another edge rusher.
Yeah. A lot of teams lost players to the Patriots this season. The Saints. This is where I have Barmore going. They have Cameron Jordan on the outside. They're losing Trey Hendrickson, so I was going to go Owe here. But there's another team that I think needs Owe. We're going to wait on that. I think it just makes sense. Barmore, like you said earlier, just physical. He's going to push the pocket. And in my opinion, that's something that the Saints need. They don't get that push off their D tackles. Their D tackles are edge rushers, but are pass rushers, but they're not good. So I think that's what they really need, and he'd be an instant starter day one.
That's very true.
Jameis Winston led Saints.
Yeah, I like the Barmore fit, but he's not on my board. So I decided I'm going to go with a bit of a I really wanted to insert this guy in the first round, and this is where I thought I could probably do that. He's been one of my draft crushes for a while. You should probably know this name by now already, Tyler. I haven't been able to talk about him because we haven't done a college player of the week in a long time. Otherwise, it would have been him for the first week that we missed. But Jamin Davis, the linebacker out of Kentucky for the New Orleans Saints here. I absolutely love the fit cover backer. Just getting him, especially in that division, with all the explosive offensive weapons that those teams have, especially if Kyle Pitts goes to Atlanta at 4. Jamin Davis would be a great pickup here for the Saints, especially with Demario Davis being on the older side, the wrong side of 30. Jamin Davis is an instant upgrade of that position. He still has a bit to learn, but the dude's an athletic freak. He's more of an athletic freak than Micah Parsons. And I think he's a lot better in zone coverage than Micah Parsons is.
Interesting. The Packers. Now, personally, I would not like if this happened in real life. But it makes sense. I have them going away.
Oh.
As I was doing my mock, the Packers edge rusher isn't their number one need. And I acknowledge that. But I know Green Bay's front office. They love to draft players they really don't need, but are still pretty solid. I think it makes sense. Smith is getting up there in age, Preston Smith. Zadarius Smith, he's playing well. But with the Packers cap situation, he's probably not going to be there for a while. I believe this was probably going to be Zadarius' last season in Green Bay. Draft a replacement. You do that with your first and your quarterback. You drafted a quarterback who's not going to replace for 4 years. It makes sense. Get Owe in that system. He's not going to play a lot his first year, but he's going to sit, he's going to learn, and him and Rashawn Gary are going to be your primary edge duo at the start of the following season.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. Going off the wall. Packers need a lot more, but it's the Packers, so.
Yeah, this is probably my most unrealistic pick of this entire draft. I have the Packers drafting Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver out of Minnesota. I had him fall, and he's right here for the Packers grabbing. He's a pretty local guy, just playing over in Minnesota State away, so I think it's a great little pickup here for Green Bay, who desperately needs another wide receiver to help out Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers.
which means they won't do it.
Yes, that's why I said it's the most unrealistic pick of this draft.
That's funny. The Bills. The Bills. I was looking at their draft needs, and I was tempted to go tight end maybe, or I was tempted to go interior D line or offensive line. I was one of those two. I was going to maybe Trey Smith. But then I saw Najee still on the board. I'm not a fan of running backs round one, personally. But the Bills are missing a running game, and they need a running back who's going to punch someone in the mouth. Kind of like a LeGarrette Blount, but he's retired, so you can't get him. Why not get Najee? Makes sense. He'd be the best pure player probably left they were picking here. And in my opinion, he's going to bring first round talent. It's going to be a cold game. It's going to take a lot off Josh Allen's back. And you get a player who can take over a game at any point. I'm going Najee to the Bills. It scares me. I hope it don't happen. But it makes sense.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is where I have Najee going as well. This has been my
God damn it.
This has been my dream fit for Najee for so long, and he's fallen to the Bills in this draft for me. He doesn't have quite the breakaway speed that you'd like. I really wish he would have ran at his pro day, but I think he was dealing with some sort of like injury or something like that, so he decided to sit out. But yeah, Najee's just an extremely great fit here in Buffalo. Be great for Josh Allen, great for that offense in general. And Najee is a do-it-all back, and there's just nothing more to say than he's just a great fit in Buffalo, even though I despise taking a running back in the first round.
But there's players that, like, it makes sense where they go first. Gurley a few years ago, when he was coming out, it just made sense. He's going to be a first-round pick, in my opinion. It's a matter of when. Yeah. Steelers are probably the most popular team you'll see a mock to. But I think Bills is the best fit.
I really want to see that happen. I know you don't, but I really want to.
I really don't. But I really don't. The Chiefs. First of all, the Chiefs their offensive line got somewhat better initially after getting way worse. But they're missing tackles still. Joe Thuney's a great guard, but he's probably not going to play left tackle. I'd give it like a 30% chance. Why not get Sam Cosmi out of Texas? Maybe a tad bit of a reach. He's probably not a great first-round guy, but it's a huge need. You're set most other places. Go for it, man. Get yourself a tackle. At worst case, he's not the guy this year. You have to sit him a year and you let Thuney play tackle. I still think it's worth taking that risk. You get a fifth-year option on a potential franchise tackle. Don't overcomplicate it.
Are we really going to end the draft the same way we started the draft? Because I am going Samuel Cosmi as well.
Oh, my God.
This guy can play. He's a bit of a reach. He's a bit undeveloped. Needs to add a lot more strength, especially to his lower half. But he has great length at 6'7", 300 pounds. He has great length. He's lean. He's mean. He's played both right and left tackle, so you can play him pretty much anywhere, any tackle position that you want to, depending on who else that you get.
Yep. I still think the Chiefs, if they paid Thuney that much, they have to be experimenting with him at tackle. Because he was thinking about going back to New England, and I guarantee you he was not expecting that much money.
Yeah. So
that's why, in my opinion, they are probably going to play him at left tackle. You don't pay a guard $90 million unless you're thinking about left tackle. I'm just saying. Finally, pick 32.
The luxury pick.
This won't be the same. This won't be the same because, well, you've already picked this probably earlier. I have them going Greg Newsome, cornerback. I know their secondary played out of their minds in that playoff stretch, but in that regular season, they were pretty bad as an overall group. I think a lot of people forget about how bad that secondary was until that playoff stretch. So yeah, they played well, but they definitely need extra help. Jamel Dean is a great guy, and I'm also a huge fan of Sean Murphy-Bunting, but you need a third corner in there. I think he fits right in. Allows you to really play more dime nickel defenses. You have two of the better cover backers. You're really just missing that last corner, and I think it would make their defense even scarier, and especially with a luxury pick, that's worth a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I thought about going Trevon Moehrig here out of TCU. I also looked at corner. They could go Asante Samuel because he's still on the board, or Elijah Molden, who can play a nickelback or safety. He's kind of a really good hybrid there out of Washington. But, I have him going in a different direction. A much more of a luxury pick. Let's try and do all we can to make sure that we win another Super Bowl next year with Brady.
Oh, no.
I have him going...
Oh, no. Stop.
I have them going Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver out of Florida.
Stop. No. No, we can't do that. No,
Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver out of Florida, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh.
You can put him anywhere. You could even hand him the ball in jet sweeps. This dude is just a monster all over the field. He can play any wide receiver position. He's 5'11", 189. The dude's just a workhorse, and he, whenever he gets the ball, he just makes plays.
Best route runner in the class besides Smith, by the way. But, oh, no. I would be devastated. First of all, could you imagine this set? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
You imagine 5-wide set of Evans, Godwin, Scotty Miller, Tony, Gronk.
Yeah. That'd be insane.
What do you do? I mean, because if that's the case, you have to put a defensive back on Gronk. Okay? So that's automatically a mismatch because that's an easy 7-yard gain at worst.
Your best bet.
You have that.
Your best bet is to play man and send 6. That's your best bet.
If you double one, you get one-on-ones everywhere else with time, and that's instantly over. Brady, if he gets Tony, which he shouldn't, because that should be impossible. If he gets Tony, I honestly think Tampa Bay could put up 35 a game with absolute ease. That is a great idea. That is terrifying.
Yeah,
and you still have.
I scare
Tyler
myself.
Johnson.
I scare myself making that pick. It's like he's still here. This just makes too much sense and is just absolutely insane that this could be a possibility.
And you have Tyler Johnson, who was great in some limited action.
And they still have Ronald Jones, and they re-signed Leonard Fournette. They could still easily get another running back in the mid rounds if they need. They could easily pick up another cover backer to replace Levante David in the second, third round if they need.
Dude, that would completely reshape. Oh my god, that would destroy the league. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh, no.
I think I just broke Tyler.
just trade for Edelman, man. Don't do that to us. Don't do that. Oh no. Oh, that was a great way to end the mock. That hurt my stomach, man. I got stomach pains now after that. Can you imagine? Oh, I almost want to see it, but I don't.
I think I just broke Tyler.
I want to see that because it would break the league, but I don't want to see that because it would be disgusting to watch. I think I would even have to start hating Brady if that happened. How much help do you really need, Brady? How much help do you need, bro? I would.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I would. I would make that joke. If they got Tony, I would make that joke. But yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. All right, let's just hope.
Yeah, I'll definitely hope that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, I'll definitely be watching a lot more Buccaneers football, and it'll definitely be on prime time still. So
I still think draft night's going to be fun. So that wraps up the mocks. Now, talking about the drafts in like how many days? Like 40? Days?
I think it's in 4 weeks, pretty much.
30 days.
Yeah, it starts on the 29th, so
of April?
Ooh. Yeah. 29th to the 1st, I believe.
So, boy, that's going to be fun. That's going to be during finals week for accounting.
Yeah, so
That'll
exactly
be
a month
better.
from tomorrow.
It'll be during my finals week, which is just great. But we're going to do a stream of round one for sure. We'll do a live stream. We'll probably start at maybe like 30, 45 minutes before. Get some snacks. Just go for it, man. And
That's gonna be so much fun.
Depending on what my schedule, I have to see what my schedule is because again, that's finals week.
Yeah.
But I think we might be able to do 2 through 3 as well.
Oh, I
I don't know
definitely
about
can.
4 through 7.
I had the days off. I
4
already
through
took the days off like a few months ago.
4 through 7 might be a little iffy, but I know rounds 1 and 2 through 3 we'll be able to do. So we'll look forward to that. That'll be a blast. Maybe we'll even get some friends on for that.
Yeah.
That should be a blast. Who knows? I may even have to bring out sad boy drinks. Sad. I swear, if New England trades out of the first again, you will hear a reaction. Because we did.
I won't hear a reaction. I'll just hear glug 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 as he just downs a bottle of whiskey.
When we drafted the 2 tight ends in the 3rd round, I wish we would have been live streaming that reaction.
Dude, I wish we were live streaming that draft. That was so much fun.
Dude, I was beyond myself. First of all, no, I legally can't say, but I was beyond myself. Okay, when we drafted those 2 tight ends, because I knew they were both garbage. Okay, as much as I wanted to like Asiasi, he's garbage. Dalton Keene, ass. I'm sorry, y'all are probably really good people, but you sucked. Okay, and it hurt because I knew those guys sucked. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to if we trade down. It's gonna be more painful. Anyway, so yes, look forward to us having a blast on the
having mental breakdowns.
I guarantee you, it will not be as filtered as these podcast episodes.
I will continue to be filtered.
I can't guarantee that. So look forward to that. Next week we don't even know what we have scheduled, but hopefully there's some more exciting news than this week. We'll see you next week on the Belichick's Bitches